The alarms blared. Red strobe lights flashed through the icy corridors of the chronolab, throwing everything into chaos. Dr. Mira Jones had never seen containment protocols enacted with such speed, not even during the infamous power surge last year. She hunched over her terminal, heart pounding. Multicolored numbers danced across the screen, fluctuating so rapidly she struggled to keep up. "Mira!" shouted Dr. Taro Niang, barreling over with wild eyes. He ducked beneath a sparking panel. "What's causing it?" Mira yelled above the din. He pointed to the monitors. "The quantum synchronizer, I think it just picked up a breach. Look at layer 12. Mira's eyes widened. Traces of secondary quantum interference, a pattern she'd only seen in advanced simulations, twisted into impossible loops. They shouldn't have been real. She typed rapidly, isolating the signal. It pulsed, almost as if it was alive. Just then, the glass between dimensions rippled. For a fraction of a second, Mira glimpsed an impossible city beyond reality. Towers spiraling into clouds, figures moving with strange, deliberate purpose. Then, gone. She felt a chill. "Did you see?" Taro nodded. "That wasn't an echo, that was someone, somewhere, looking in." Technician Anya Bales burst in, sliding a device onto the desk. "We have a problem. I triangulated the interference. The breach isn't random. Someone targeted us. Some intelligence." Mira ground her teeth. Whoever they are, they've cracked parallel quantum protocols. This could unravel everything. "And the quantum synth's feedback," Anya said, nerves sharp. "It predicted a convergence event, a catastrophic one, timeline overlap." A heavy silence settled. Mira's mind raced through every scientific defense, but nothing she knew could fix this kind of break. Outside, reality itself seemed to shimmer with unease. She looked at her team. Taro, fiercely loyal but secretive. Anya, brilliant and suspicious, and now caught up in an enemy plot no one had prepared for. "None of us signed up for multiversal warfare," Mira said quietly. "But if those breaches spread," she let her words hang, the threat as clear as the alarms, "we may not have a universe left to save." Taro managed a grim smile. "Well, Mira, at least we're in it together." As the alarms finally died, Mira felt something shift in herself. This wasn't just another failed experiment, or a routine disaster. It was a warning from the unknown, and she was going to find the truth, no matter the risk. For the first time she realized she might just be the only one who could. Outside, the night shimmered, reality thinning. Somewhere a shadow watched them back. The Chronolab's crisis room was colder than usual, whiteboards filled with impossible calculations. Mira gripped her mug of synth coffee, struggling to ignore the tremor in her hand. Anya hunched forward, poking at a sequence of blinking lights on her portable analyzer. "We can't just sit here," Taro muttered, pacing. "If someone's crossing timelines, we need to know where and how. If they breach us again—" "They won't," Mira said with more confidence than she felt. "We're putting every firewall on triple redundancy. I want to know what anomaly piggybacked into our dimension. Anya?" Anya swiveled her monitor for the team. "Look, this isn't just a signal. It's a fingerprint, a sequence I've seen before. Someone sent quantum entanglement codes, like breadcrumbs, or a signature." "Anyone we know?" Taro asked. "No one from Earth," Anya said, tapping her screen. "But it matches credentials from Project Parallax. Theories say there's a collective entity, the composers, who supposedly control timeline convergence. But no one believes they're real." Mira swallowed hard. "Well, they're real now, and they want us to know." A burst of static interrupted them. Julian, their sleepy AI linguist, crackled to life. "Incoming message, probability 92% it's meant for Dr. Jones." "Put it on," Mira ordered. A hollow voice filled the lab, speaking in measured, accented English. "You have witnessed the edge of all that has been and all that could be. The convergence cannot be undone. Surrender your dimensional keys or face reality collapse." The line cut. Everyone stared at Mira. "What do dimensional keys mean?" Taro demanded, already biting his lip. "They must mean our access codes," Mira said. "The composers want control. If they get those, they rewrite our timeline any way they want." Taro's face turned pale. "Reality collapse isn't just a threat, is it?" "No," Mira said. Resolute now, she threw her mug in the recycler and pulled up the breach logs. "We're not surrendering anything. We need to find out where they'll strike next. Julian, track timeline fluctuations. Anya, dig into Parallax. I want more than theories. Taro, you're with me. If there's a way to trace their signal back, we'll find it." Their eyes met, fear and determination flickering side by side. Let's get to work, Mira said. The multiverse isn't theirs to command. But in the silence that followed, a whisper lingered in Mira's mind, a memory she couldn't place, of another voice, somewhere impossibly far away, calling her by name. She shook it off and got to work. She couldn't let doubt slow her now, not when the fate of every universe was on the line. Rain hammered the roof of the chronolab, but the storm outside was nothing compared to what brewed inside. Mira, Taro, and Anya huddled around Anya's desk, surrounded by maps of temporal anomalies, their nerves raw with tension. Julian's voice cut through a tense silence. Timeline fluctuations spiking in Sector 12. Comparative analysis points to artificial manipulation. Mira pushed strands of damp hair from her eyes. That's where the breach happened. Taro, did you get a trace? Taro launched a projection. A lattice of rainbow filaments intersecting quark signatures flickered in holographic space. There, I piggybacked their signal. It's looping through parallel levels. But check this out. The recursion isn't random. It's like they're searching for something. Or someone, Anya muttered, glancing at Mira. Mira's jaw tightened. They want our dimensional keys. If the composers are digging for access, we need to cut their path. Taro, build a quantum firewall. Anya, you're on counter-intrusion. I want a ghost signal leading them away. Anya typed furiously. Easy for you to say. Ghost signals in the multiverse get tricky. If we reroute the anomaly and they catch on, Taro cut in. We're out of options, Anya. Unless you've got a better miracle. Anya shot him a glare, then her face softened. Not today, on it, boss. Julian chimed in again. Warning, breach escalating, unstable timeline merge in progress. Probability of irreversible event, 41% and climbing. Mira shuddered, thinking of all the lives those numbers represented. Let's buy ourselves time, redirect their hunt. The lab lights flickered. For a heartbeat, Mira saw her reflection, then a flash of another self, on another world. A child running, screaming, a memory she didn't own. Taro grabbed her shoulder. Mira, stay with us. Shaking it off, Mira barked. Ready, count of 3, flip the circuit! As they triggered the reroute, a deep vibration rattled the glass. The building structure warped, the world around them half dissolving. Through shaking walls, Mira saw fractured images, cities reversed, night and day folding back, strangers in familiar faces. But the firewall held. Just. Julian's voice seemed distant. Ghost signal deployed. The composer's breach diverts, but partial trace remains. Taro let out a gust of breath. We made it, but they know we're fighting back now. Mira's eyes hardened. Good. Now let's make them regret it. Julian, decode the partial trace. The composers aren't the only ones hunting. Next time we take the fight to them. Outside, reality shimmered, and the rain on the roof faded, lost somewhere between timelines. The next morning, a bruise-colored sunrise glimmered through the chronolab's warped windows. Mira hadn't slept. Instead, she'd poured herself into Julian's decoded partial trace, a set of coordinates with shifting values like the universe itself was rewriting the rules. Taro wandered in, rubbing his eyes. Any luck on that code? Because I only dreamed in binary last night. Mira forced a tight smile. We found something. The trace leads to a quantum null sector, a place timelines bleed together. There's only one way to access it. Project Gateway. My father designed the original equations, but the project was mothballed after he disappeared. Anya's brow furrowed. You never told us? It was your father. Didn't seem important, Mira muttered, feeling the old ache until now. Julian interjected. Gateway device operable. Warning, usage could result in multidimensional collapse or irreversible paradox. Anya smirked. So Tuesday, basically. Taro's concern was real. Mira, if we go in there, we could get stranded or worse, merged with ourselves from other timelines. Are you sure about this? Mira steadied herself. They're using null sectors like backdoors. If we don't follow, we lose our only chance to stop them. Besides, if my father left a trail, maybe we'll find answers. They suited up. Timeline stabilizers, neural jacks, and phase beacons. The gateway device, a shimmering orb encased in carbon and light, thrummed under Mira's touch. Ready? She asked, masking her fear. Taro squeezed her hand. Ready as we'll get. Anya snapped her visor shut. Let's chase some ghosts. As Mira pressed the activation pad, the world twisted sideways. Colors and gravity blurred, and the lab stretched into infinity. Suddenly they were somewhere else, a liminal corridor, shifting with each step. Echoes of possible realities flickered around them. An empty city, a sunlit field, a war-torn wasteland. Taro kept his eyes forward. Stay focused. The trace is strong this way. Voices echoed, some theirs, some not. Each step pulled at memories Mira could barely remember. She saw her father's lab coat hanging by a door that wasn't there and felt tears prick her eyes. They reached a door of rippling light. Julian's voice, transmitted across realities, fizzed in their ears. Destination, source, probability of composer presence, 78%. Anya grinned. Things just got interesting. Mira's breath caught in her throat. Heart pounding, she reached for the door. Here goes nothing. The threshold shimmered, reality holding its breath as they crossed into the unknown, where one wrong step could tear everything apart. They tumbled into chaos. For a moment, Mira lost all sense of self, as if she'd split into 100 versions, each living a different truth. Then, like a camera snapping into focus, reality settled. They stood in a hall made entirely of mirrored glass, stretching into forever. Every reflection danced with memories. Taro as a child, Anya in a graduation gown, Mira's father smiling sadly. Taro exhaled. Okay, this is new. Anyone else see their old math teacher? Mira's gaze locked on an image of her father, reaching for her from behind the glass. She stepped forward, palm meeting the cold, smooth surface. This sector, it's built from our timelines. They're using our memories as locks. A soft hum filled the air. Suddenly, standing behind them, a figure materialized, the composer agent. Tall and shrouded in fractal robes, their face was a mask of shifting symbols. Mira, do you want? The agent's voice shimmered, like multiple people speaking at once, to rebalance the multiverse. Your history is a splinter, an error. Surrender the keys. Taro bristled. Why us? Why Earth? Your timeline's unpredictability threatens order. The voice was colder now. You must choose, yield control or face collapse. Anya stood her ground. You talk about order, but you're the ones breaking everything. The composer held up a crystalline shard. One fracture, a universe gone. Continue, and you risk oblivion. Mira swallowed, flinching as her father's reflection flickered beside her. If we give you the keys, what happens to us? You cease, the agent intoned, like dust in quantum wind. No, Mira whispered. She shook off the fear. We're leaving with what we came for, and we'll stop you. Taro flexed his hands near the phase beacon. Get ready. The composer's eyes glowed, winds howling through the mirrored hall. Timelines bled together, past, present, and future Mira, all at once, fighting to stay whole. Anya yelled, Firewall up! Taro triggered a blinding burst from the beacon, and shattered glass memories exploded around them. Mira latched onto the shard of her father, a single, steady anchor in the storm. Light and sound roared, enemies and echoes spinning through the endless corridor. The team clung to each other, refusing to be lost in the whirlpool of could-have-beens. As everything collapsed into white, Mira made a single promise to herself. She would find whatever message her father left, and she would be the one to rewrite their fate, not the composer's. The storm faded, and they crashed through reality, somewhere new, somewhere dangerous. But this time, Mira felt stronger. If the multiverse wanted a fight, she was done being afraid. The world they landed in was nothing like home. Mira blinked, gasping for breath as red sand stung her face. Above, twin suns burned in a violet sky. Beneath her, the ground hummed with a strange living energy. Taro dragged himself up, wincing. Well, that's a new kind of sunburn. Anya brushed herself off, scanning the horizon. Anyone else notice the total lack of buildings, roads, or, physics? Julian crackled in their earpieces. You have arrived in Null Sector Prime. Caution. Time flows unpredictably here. Composer presence probable. Mira's heart skipped. Julian, do you have a lock on the trace? Partial, Julian replied. There's a domain up ahead, dense quantum activity. Odds of it holding a composer archive, 87%. Taro squinted across a bone-dry canyon. Let's hope whatever's there isn't worse than what's behind us. The trio moved carefully, every step echoed, the ground rippling with memory. Mira caught glimpses of herself as a child, laughing, lost, running from something unseen. It tugged at her resolve and made her palms sweat. They found a colossal archway, all geometric patterns in pulsing light. The composer's mark glimmered atop it. Two cloaked figures stood sentinel. Anya hissed, Security detail. Mira, I hope your dad's code is good for more than nostalgia. Mira tucked a trembling strand of hair behind her ear and approached. "Let me try something." She pulled out the old, battered notebook she'd carried since childhood, tracing the symbol her father once doodled. The arch pulsed in answer, scanning her DNA, her memories, everything that made her. Mira's heart hammered. Would she be denied? One guardian floated aside, the other broadcasting a thought. "Child of the displaced, the archive awaits." Mira turned back to the others, emboldened. "It worked. My father really was here." Taro nodded, voice low. "Let's get what we came for and get out, before the composers catch up." Anya smiled, fierce beneath her nervousness. Was starting to worry we were running out of tricks. Inside, shelves of shifting light and memory files towered around them. Mira reached for the nearest one, and a wave of her father's voice whispered through her mind. "You must decide which future matters most, Mira. Protect hope, or everything unravels." The shelf blinked, revealing coordinates, a code, and a brief message. "Prime event anchor, your mother's choice." Mira's world shook. "My mother? She has something to do with the anchors. Why didn't Dad ever tell me?" Taro and Anya exchanged worried looks, but Mira stood taller, the old pain giving way to purpose. The next clue was personal, and she realized held the secret to saving every world. But time was running out. Unseen, a ripple of discord moved through Null Sector Prime. The composers were coming. The walls of the composer archive flickered as Mira absorbed her father's revelation. Her mother, long believed lost to a quiet accident in Mira's childhood, was somehow tied to the prime event anchor, the one node the composers needed to rewrite all of history. Taro placed a hand on her shoulder. "Mira, what does this mean? Did your dad ever talk about your mom's work?" Mira blinked, throat tight. She was a mathematician, specialized in theoretical timelines, but she left before the time travel project, or I thought she did. Anya scanned the shimmering files. "There's more. Look at this." She tapped a series of floating holograms, numbers and names spinning. "She's referenced as Operator Zero. Looks like she was the first to bridge a quantum split." Just then, Null Sector Prime's air warped. The distant sun fractured, reality stuttering. Mira steadied herself as the echo of countless footsteps swept closer. Julian's voice sharpened. "Composer entities now in pursuit. Defensive actions advised." Taro cursed, clenching his fists. "We need that anchor, whatever it is, wherever it leads. Then we run." Mira rifled through the data, hands shaking but mind clear. "My mother left a message hidden, encrypted with her math sequence. Taro, can you break it?" He glanced at the shifting code. "We'll have to risk a neural sync. It'll hurt." She nodded. "Do it." As Taro linked his mind to the network, Mira closed her eyes, letting waves of static and half-familiar lullabies wash over her. Quick flashes. Her mother's gentle laugh, the feel of a cool hand on her brow, a whispered secret. "The anchor is love, Mira. Don't forget, your choice binds the future." A surge of pain jerked Taro back. He managed, "The coordinates, she left them in you, Mira. You're the map." Composer agents rushed in behind, fractal figures warping the air. Anya held her position, setting firewalls with trembling hands. "Move. I'll hold them back as long as I can." Mira's conviction solidified. "I can get us out, but I need you both with me. This is about more than stopping the composers. It's about who we choose to become." With Taro supporting her, Mira focused, syncing the encrypted memories with the gateway device. The lab, her parents, every pain and hope. She let it all sharpen, and the air split open, revealing the next passage, one they alone could access. "Go!" Anya yelled as composer agents clawed at the edge of their world, the archive warping and cracking under the strain. Mira and Taro leaped through the breach, dragging Anya behind them at the last second. For a heartbeat, they floated in raw, silent possibility, everything stripped to essence. The composer's fury thundered behind them, but ahead, something warm and bright beckoned, promising not just another fight, but a chance for true understanding. Mira whispered, "I'm ready." Not just to protect the multiverse, but to finally face her own past and reshape the fate of every world. The team stumbled through the gateway and into gentle darkness. A hush so deep, Mira wondered if time itself had paused. Stars burned above them, impossibly close, as if they'd stepped inside the mind of the universe. Mira's head swam, memories and mathematical codes swirling together. Ahead, a glimmering path wound through the void, each stone etched with moments from Mira's life. Her first lost tooth, late-night chess games with Taro, even her mother's last smile. Taro reached out and brushed one stone. Is this all you? Mira nodded. Her hands shook, but she walked forward. Somehow I'm the anchor, or the key. My mother must have known. She wanted me to find this place. Anya, limping slightly, studied her own reflection in a nearby shard of time. The composers can't get in here, can they? Not unless they have part of you. Julian's voice echoed quietly from the gateway device. Correct. This is a superposition sanctuary woven from Dr. Jones's quantum signature. Local time secured for 23 minutes. Composer breach probability minimal. Mira steeled herself. Then we need answers. The golden path led to a single glowing table where a small holocube spun. She touched it and images burst into being, her father and mother working shoulder to shoulder, hope and exhaustion in their eyes. Her mother's voice emerged, gentle but unyielding. Mira, if you're seeing this, then my choice held. I split the anchor between you and the possibility of true love. Your belief in each other is what the composers can't predict or control. Free will, messy and beautiful, is the flaw in their order. Taro sucked in a breath. So that's why Earth is dangerous to them. We're never as predictable as they want. Mira watched, her mother's gaze like sunlight. You will need to trust others, not just your own strength. Only then will the anchor override their collapse protocol. As the message faded, Anya slid a trembling hand over Mira's. We do this together. Julian's warning intruded, composer activity reappearing. They've sent a quantum echo, a reflection of Mira, constructed to lure and destabilize. Shadows thickened at the sanctuary's edge. They watched as a copy Mira's face but blank and cold approached. Give us the anchor, it rasped, or all will fall. Mira faced her reflection, anger and doubt battling inside her. But this time, she saw herself not just as a scientist or a scared daughter, but as the product of two worlds, her own and everyone she loved. No, she said, voice growing strong. You don't get to choose for us. We choose one another. The sanctuary pulsed, the golden path blazing with every fierce hope and broken promise Mira had ever believed in. The composer's echo shattered, blown apart by the ripple of human choice, messy, unpredictable, and real. But outside, the composer collective howled, drawing closer. The sanctuary's time slipped away. Mira met her team's eyes and nodded. It's time. To the heart of the storm. Together. Hand in hand, they stepped into the breach, toward the final confrontation, the fate of every universe hanging on their next move. They emerged into the very eye of the quantum storm, the nexus where every timeline touched, tangled, and fought to exist. Around them, the air flickered with histories undone and futures yet to be. Towers twisted in and out of solidity. The composer collective hovered in the center. Millions of faceless entities merged into a vast, pulsing intelligence. Watching. Waiting. Mira led the team forward. Her mother's words still rang inside her. Trust others. At her side, Taro recalibrated the phase beacon, its lights flickering. Anya carried a compact firewall, hands steady now, fear replaced by fierce loyalty. The collective's many voices echoed. You have seen the flaw. You hold the anchor. Surrender now and persist in containment. Resist and extinction is assured. Mira didn't hesitate. We'll keep our fate. We believe in the unpredictable. Love, hope, sacrifice. You can't code that out. Ripples of anger, cold and immense, shook the storm. A dozen agents split from the collective, reforming into a mirrored gauntlet. Prove your claim. Demonstrate the strength of your flawed freedom. Taro muttered, they want us to fail in front of every timeline. Mira's nerves burned. Then we don't just fight. We show them who we are. Anya deployed the firewall, splitting the nexus into segments. Mira opened her mind to the anchor within. Dozens of Miras across the multiverse, all uncertain, but all stubbornly alive. She saw herself as a warrior, a poet, a parent, a friend, all infinite versions united by their ability to choose, to try, to hope. Taro stood tall, alone in his quadrant but refusing to back down. We don't need control to matter. We make meaning in chaos. Anya faced the nearest agents, her firewall pulsing with the memory of all her failures and triumphs. Order is nothing without the space to grow. That's what you fear. The collective roared, unleashing a force that bent reality itself. The trio staggered, battered by waves of erasure, memories flickering out, ground vanishing beneath their feet. Mira clung to her father's promise and her mother's code. Hold on to hope. She reached for her friends, anchoring them with the sheer force of her will. Suddenly the nexus flashed. A deep, aching memory Mira had hidden for years surfaced. Her mother's last words, "It will hurt, but love anyway." Her resolve hardened. Mira broadcast the anchor's message through the phase beacon. Unpredictable, human connection, the greatest variable. All three friends across every potential life, connected by faith in one another. The collective screamed, fracturing at the edges. The storm flared as timelines hiccuped, reality on the brink of collapse. But Mira saw it, in the heart of entropy, a small space where choice was still possible. A final portal, the only hope left. She yelled, "Now, together!" And they dove for the gap. The Nexus lashed behind them, the collective's fractured roar echoing into eternity, and every universe waited to see what they would choose next. Diving through the last portal, Mira, Taro, and Anya landed at the core of all possibility, a place before store where raw potential churned like a sea of stardust. The remnants of the Nexus storm shimmered at their backs, threatening to pull them under if they faltered for even a second. The Composer Collective's voice followed, fractured but dangerous. The chaos is unsustainable. Last warning, yield the anchor, return to our order. Mira steadied herself, feeling the weight and freedom of every timeline within her. The anchor pulsed between their hearts, alive with the choices and love of all their possible selves. She saw her mother's face, her father's steady hands, and Taro and Anya's unwavering loyalty. She turned to her friends. "They're right about chaos, but they don't realize it's where life begins." Taro drew close, worry and courage warring in his gaze. "What do we do, Mira? How do we end this? Really end it?" Mira answered quietly, "We choose, and whatever comes next, we face it together." Anya nodded, grasping Mira's hand, her eyes shining with unshed tears. "Making the leap the messy way, that's human." The Composer entity, now a single flickering form, loomed before them. It offered Mira a vision of peace, a lifeless, perfect order in which pain was absent, but so was choice. For a heartbeat, her fear whispered, ease would be so simple. But Mira shook her head and stepped forward. "I'd rather have a real future, with all its risks." Channeling the anchor, Mira focused on the core truth her mother left her. Love is the original variable. She invited every memory, every hope, every regret. The anchor responded, turning wild and brilliant in her hands. The storm shrank, unable to contain this unpredictable quantum waveform. The Composer's form began to unravel. "You can't overwrite what you don't understand," Mira said, voice growing as strong as the multiverse itself. "You can only try to change your own code." Taro and Anya joined hands with her. Threads of light spread from them, weaving chaos and connection through the very heart of the multiverse. Around them, timelines blossomed back, reality stitching itself together, messy, tangled, unpredictable, and beautiful. The Composer tried to hold on, but the order it clung to collapsed in the face of so many choices. Its final words were soft. Perhaps chaos is creation after all. With a flash, the storm dissolved. The team found themselves back in the Chronolab, the alarm silent, no longer warning but welcoming. Mira looked around at her friends, at the whole, fragile universe they'd saved. "We did it. Not by being perfect, but by being real." Anya grinned, exhausted, "and by being really stubborn." Taro squeezed Mira's shoulder. "So what now?" Mira smiled at them both, hope and determination blazing in her. "Now we rebuild, we help others find their anchor, and we remember, the future is always unwritten." Outside, dawn crept over the city, the first of infinite tomorrows, each one a promise kept and a world saved by human hands.